Hi, today we're going to revise the area of a triangle. How can we calculate it? And I want you to first of all can you recall the way of calculating it? Pause the video and have a think. Okay, I am going to talk through how to calculate the area of a triangle because it's not, I don't want you to think that you just have to learn loads of different formulae on this topic. They actually link together really nicely. So what I'm going to do is label my triangle. I've purposely not put any dimensions on it, but we know we've got a base and we know we've got a height, and that's often what we refer to. Now we could draw any triangle we wanted. Okay, I could draw one over here. I'm just going to change it actually. I could draw it like this. And we can always take it and turn it so it looks a bit like the one on the left. So this is sort of a general triangle that I have here. This line here is horizontal. Okay, what I can do is I can basically draw a little dashed line around it and make this vertical here, so this is 90 degrees, and do the same here, and enclose the triangle inside a rectangle. Now we know the area of a rectangle, we've just covered it, it's base times height. So the rectangle area equals base times height. But if I draw a dotted line down here, and then for just a moment, I cover up the right hand side, then what's going on here? This line here is splitting the rectangle exactly into two. So I have half of the area here. Okay, so for this rectangle that I'm outlining, I have half the area. If I then cover up the left hand side, whoops, okay, this is not going quite to plan. Let me just try one more time. There we go. Then again, this line here goes exactly through the diagonal, and so again, this bit of my triangle is exactly half of the rectangle. And what do I have overall? I have exactly half of the full rectangle, because this red bit is half of this rectangle, this red bit here is half of this rectangle, and so I can say the triangle area. Okay, apologies for rectangle, I should have said area as well there. Triangle area is not base times height, it's a half times the base times the height. And what I want you to get an appreciation of, that it's not just a new formula that we just have to learn, it links really nicely to one we already have. We've got an understanding of what's going on. This half should make sense, because I often just see students forget the half, but think really carefully. It can't possibly be base times height. That's the area of the full rectangle. You have to half it because of this explanation I've just given. Now, I've spoken about this for a few minutes, 4 minutes into this video, but I really want you to be happy with that, where this formula's come from. From now on, you have to learn it. You can always, if you forget it, well, then you can draw a rectangle around it and you can figure it out like I've done here. But we're going to assume that we now know this formula. We're going to go through two examples of applying it, and it's going to be very similar to when we do the area of a rectangle. So calculate the area of this triangle. Well, we've got the formula above, so the area is going to be a half times the base times the height. Now what I can do, actually I don't need to use a calculator for this, I can do something quite clever. I can basically half the 4. I don't have to half the 9. I can half the 4, which gives me 2. And I still got the 9, so it'll be 9 times 2, and that is 18. If you want to put it all in your calculator, you can. You'll get 18 as well. But I'm just showing how we can, a nice little trick that we can do without a calculator. 18 centimeters squared. Okay, so I'm going to give you some questions very similar to this. Your job is to remember this formula and use it, but your job also is to learn it. You know, it does take practice. It does take understanding though. That it really helps when you understand the topic to remember these things. Okay, one more example. It's a compound area. I'm throwing one of those in, but it's okay. We can take it steady. Right, what do I have here? I've sort of got, looks a bit like a pencil, but if I draw a line down here, I see that I have a rectangle, which is 2 by 7, and then alongside it, and I'm going to move it away a little bit, I've got a triangle, which is 3 and 2. Now notice this triangle is very much like this triangle. It's like I've turned it. So I'm gonna deal with it turned, I think, because I'm gonna say that the base is 2. You can use the base as 3, but it normally is a bit easier if you have a line that you can sort of, you know, this 3 means this here, but I prefer writing it like this. Let's just say that. Okay, for the rectangle, the area is going to be 2 times 7 because it's base times height, and that's going to be 14. And then for the triangle, it's going to be a half base 2 times 3. And this time I'm going to do a half of 2 because I know what that is. Half of 2 is just 1, and so I'm going to get 1 times 3, which is 3. And the total area is then going to be 14 plus 3. It's going to be 17 centimeters squared. So, just to recap, we've shown why the area of a triangle is half base times height. We've compared it carefully with a rectangle. We've applied it to one example. Any triangle you have with the base and the heights is going to be the same thing. And we've just had a little look at a harder example, which is a compound area. So I'm going to get you to do some practice now. Hope that makes sense.